Hello and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Miranda and I'm the Enchantress of Avalon. For today's video, given that it is St. Patrick's Day, I decided I would take on a little bit of the St. Patrick's Day topics, but more so a topic of what I think that we in the more magical community can take from St. Patrick's Day. And I do want to give a shout out to my awesome herbalism teacher, Suzanne O'Gara, who went ahead and talked about St. Patrick's Day as All Snakes Day on her Tea Time Tuesday this week. And when I was watching that and interacting with it, I realized that the whole concept of All Snakes Day, because St. Patrick was said to have, gotten all the snakes out of Ireland, I like the concept of All Snakes Day. It's a pagan taking back of this because, first of all, anyone who does not know this, snakes are not indigenous to Ireland. That story is only allegorical. St. Patrick did not rid Ireland of snakes. He converted the Irish to Christianity. So the ridding of the snakes was the ridding of pagans and specifically the pagan gods. Which is what brings us to the actual topic of today's video. And that is the goddess Aine. I have actually read certain versions of the St. Patrick myth and story legend. He actually lived, but the legend of how he rid Ireland of snakes that did involve Aine. And Aine is a goddess that I absolutely adore. She is also a fairy queen, and she is a goddess who is associated with the sun, the moon, summer, sovereignty, and just so many other things. I have done other videos on her before, but I wanted to give her some love for St. Patrick's Day because let's think of it as All Snakes Day or as a day to celebrate Aine. Other than, of course, like the midsummer. There's a lot of midsummer rituals to Aine. So, she is, I'm just like reading my notes here. Okay. She is known as the Red Mare and her ability to transform into said Red Mare, but she is also, through this, connected to sovereignty and a sun goddess status, and she was later connected into being a moon goddess. So she's both a solar and a lunar deity in this way, similar to Rhiannon, who is associated with white horses, the white mare, the sun, and eventually the moon. So there is a connection, and it's probably why I'm so drawn to Rhiannon as a goddess, is that connection with Aine. It's all very entwined. And she is said to be able to bestow abundance, prosperity, and fertility to people. And her prime responsibility as a goddess is to encourage human sexuality and the expression of sexuality because she is a fertility deity. She is this great Mother Earth goddess, this fairy fertility goddess who wants people to go forth and have more sex and eventually procreate. It's a very interesting nature of Aine. She also has a duality to her personality, and that is she is a very loving, nurturing goddess, being, of course, this fertility love goddess, but she's also known to be a very quick to anger goddess and one who will take vengeance for wrongdoing. And I have mentioned this before when talking about Aine. I don't want to go super deep into it. It is a hard topic to discuss, but she is assaulted in one of her most famous myths by Ailill Olin, who is a king and a semi-divine figure in his own right. And after this happens, pretty much immediately, she bites off his ear or part of his ear. And Olim actually means one ear or one-eared. And this is because she knows that if he is imperfect physically, he can no longer be king. there is an old Celtic practice, and specifically very prominent in Ireland, where a king or a chieftain loses his power and loses his sovereignty if he is not perfect physically, because the physical health of the king is said to be the physical health of the land. They are entwined, they are not separate in any way. So this is a very important concept, and being a sovereignty goddess, she fully knows this, so she maims him in order to make sure he no longer has any power, and he certainly has no longer has any power over her. And it must also be noted that he was instructed to go to one of her sacred sites, and that is when this occurs. So not only is he assaulting her and is he betraying her and demeaning a goddess, he's doing it on one of her sacred sites. This is straight up insult on every level. It is like Athena getting angry, like Athena getting angry that Medusa is assaulted by Poseidon at the Parthenon, which is her temple, Athena's temple. And, of course, Medusa gets punished. Although I do like that there is an alternate telling where Athena isn't punishing Medusa, but in fact protecting her, making sure that her vision, her gaze that could turn men to stone, it means that she could no longer be assaulted by any other person because she could turn them to stone before they could harm her. So I do like that alternate telling, but in any case, she's punished. She's still a monster who turns absolutely everybody who she gazes upon to stone. It's still a very painful thing to deal with. So, I also want to discuss the fact that I actually just learned this when I was researching a little bit for this video. I was trying to find more content on the Aine/St Patrick connection, and I happened upon this little factoid that I found absolutely fascinating. Rites to the goddess Aine were regularly held in Ireland until as recently as 1879. 1879. We are talking the height of the Victorian period, which we know the Victorian period had a huge belief in fairies and the fairy faith in Ireland and other Celtic countries was gigantic. But the fact that they were regularly worshiping this goddess and fairy queen that late, that close to the modern era, is really incredibly fascinating. And of course, she has a resurgence in popularity in recent decades because as witchcraft movement gets more popular, as paganism resurges as a popular form of spiritual practice and religion, of course, we're going to have this uptick in thinking of these really powerful goddesses. But Aine didn't really need to resurge that much because she was only really not being prayed to for less than a century between when they were last holding rites to her officially and there was this uptick in spiritualism and just spirituality, because I personally consider the major time period that led to the pagan witchcraft and just spiritual landscape we're seeing today in magical community as beginning really in the 1960s. The counterculture adopting this and getting to know this would lead to us just having this explosion of knowledge and power in the modern day. So I just want to say that's so incredible that we have just so close to when Aine was originally worshipped. And I think framing St. Patrick's Day as either All Snakes Day, where the pagans are just taking it back and saying, you know what, snakes are awesome. You may call us snakes, but, you know, you didn't really get rid of us. You just quieted us for a while. I think that's great. But I also think looking at it as a day of goddess energy, it's kind of like looking at Friday the 13th as a day of goddess energy. And let's embrace that. Let's really have some fun with the goddess energy, especially the fairy goddess energy. Let's look to the Irish goddesses. And if you aren't as connected to Anya, why not key into Maeve or the Morrigan or Bridget or Danu or any other Irish goddess? There are many. Pick a goddess, pick a fairy queen, and go outside and dance around barefoot in the grass and have some fun as we're getting so close to the spring equinox. We're really close. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do like, comment, subscribe, and check out my blog, whiteroseofavalon.life. And as always, I'll link some blog posts in the description box below, and I will also link my Discord server that's always linked down in there, and as well as links to my donations page and to my tarot and oracle services page, because I did recently start offering tarot and oracle reading services on my blog. You could easily purchase through there. So I hope that you have a fantastic Fairy Friday and a happy St. Patrick's Day, or a happier All Snakes Day. Bye now.